Yo, what is going on, heroes and heroines? It is I, the fanatical Makai Vega, coming to you today with another episode of the Hype Train. Today's game, I am bringing to you Horizon Forbidden West. Now, remember where you were when you first heard of the concept of robot dinosaurs? Ha! Good one, future Makai Vega. Anyhow, last year came the announcement of the sequel to the legendary robot dinosaur open world game known as Horizon Zero Dawn. And in that game we were introduced to the lovely and fierce Aloy as she journeyed to save the world from a life-ending artificial intelligence in post-apocalyptic America. Oh man, and it appears she's at it again. That Aloy always saving the world and whatnot. Now in the first release, Guerrilla Games seemed to have surprised us, giving us one of the most expansive open world games in the history of video games. And it was an absolute beaut to experience. No, not just play, but experience. The idea of robot dinosaurs and wildlife has been presented to us only a handful of number of times before, which probably spoke to the game's initial excitement and wonder when it came to its first release. And when it came to what it promised, boy did that game deliver. It came with everything you could expect from combat involving giant robot dinosaurs and primitive weapons, which logistically doesn't make any sense considering how can you take out a robot skeleton thing with a bow and arrow, but whatever, video games have done weirder things in the past. For me, the game had a fluid combat system, an expansive open world, an interesting culture surrounding the world, and a well-designed female character for the internet to gush over. But, would it be weird for me to say that my favorite part of the game was actually not really a part of the game, but the photo mode? Yeah, I took a lot of pictures in Horizon Zero Dawn. Please. Now, it's finally my chance to show off my beautiful work to the world for its critique. Look at the artistry, the pageantry, the... Alright, future Makai Vega. Keep testing me. See what happens. I don't remember saying that. Did I? The game had the most extensive photo mode that I've ever seen in any video game. Where everyone else has the basic photo mode where you could put a little filter on it, twist the camera a little bit. It's basically just a glorified gameplay screenshot. But in Horizon, the player could become their very own video game photographer, posing Aloy in different positions, setting the time of day, and even the look on her face, giving her a cute little smile or a dainty frown or like a fierce warrior face. Put on your war face. Got a pretty ugly war face actually. It's since the enemy's in terror, it really does. Just look at it. Once you pull that tongue out, nobody's gonna want to mess with you after that. If they see that tongue. Make myself laugh. Sorry. But that photo mode was bliss and more time consuming than eating a clock. Haha. It's a pun stole from another game. And since I played that game, other photo modes just couldn't live up to the hype. Except for this one game called Code Vein, which is like anime Dark Souls, but no one's ever played that, so I don't even know why I brought it up, because no one knows what it is, so I just talk to myself. So one of my hopes for the new games, they continue to add more features to this photo mode and make it more expensive than it was before, so that I can take more fabulous pictures in beautiful indigenous outfits and stunning new locations. But anywho, it has been 4 years since the release of Horizon Zero Dawn, which left Guerrilla Games no time to rest on their laurels, and now we are presented with Forbidden West. So without further ado, here's what I could dig up on the game so far. First, let me paraphrase what Sony's website had to say about the game's plot. They say the land is dying, vicious storms, and an unstoppable blight. Blight? Didn't I just do something about a blight in the last hype train? Oh no, I'm starting to sense a trend. God dang it. I tried to do the walking away thing, but this wall right there, can't really. I don't know, that chuckled me. That tickled my fancy. I make myself laugh. If you can't make yourself laugh, you can't make anybody laugh. It's okay, it's alright. Anyway, that blight ravages the remainder of humanity while many new machines prowl the borders of the Forbidden West. Life seems to be heading towards another extinction, and it's up to Aloy to figure out how and why as she travels from her lands to the Forbidden West. Other than that, any information released on PlayStation website is El Generico as well. El Generico. Oh, discover distant lands, new enemies, rich cultures, and striking characters. Unravel the secrets behind Earth's imminent collapse and unlock a hidden chapter in the ancient past. One that will change Aloy forever. Big whoop. Wanna fight about it? That's basically the same as saying, if you play this game, things will happen, and it'll be cool. Sounds like someone's trying to sell me something. But luckily for you guys, I got fingers, and I can do a basic internet search. So here is what is on the rumor mill. As far as the technology is concerned, the game will have no loading screens. Except for, the essential of from the main menu to the game itself. Once you're in there, you're in there. Complete immersion. And that even goes for things like fast travel. Yay! Instant fast travel. I don't have to explain why that's pretty cool, do I? But you probably don't even care about that kind of stuff anyway. That's just the kind of stuff we come to expect from these big AAA games, right? Like, how dare they just assume that I would be willing to wait 10 seconds for that level to load? Time is forever fleeting, and those precious seconds will forever be lost to me, and I will never get them. Back. Sorry about that. It appears the future version of myself is attempting to make me look foolish yet again. The trailer seems to hint at a lot more underwater sections of the game, which I can appreciate, but I can't really seem to recall any part of a video game where the underwater part is my favorite part of the game. Except, Abzu, but the underwater part was kind of the whole point of it. Has anyone played these games that I'm referencing? Just let me know in the comments below so I don't feel alone. Aloy seems to attract some nice scuba gear, which could mean robot sharks, robot whales, robot sea urchins? Could this mean the return of Spongetron? What do you think?
Response, why don't you ask me later?
Okay, alright. But in reality though, trying to wrap my head about it, I can't really think of a way to create underwater combat that comes across as anything but unrealistic and cartoonish. And if I were in the writer's room, I'd probably be thinking the same thing. Not to say there won't be any form of underwater combat, because robot sharks can't pass up on that opportunity, right? But if I had to say either Aloy just runs away from it underwater or swims away from it, or she engages him in some sort of land boss battle. One of those where you're jumping around on different platforms, swimming in the water to get away to get to another platform, and then you grab onto the side of the giant beast and it takes you underwater, then brings you back up on the water and you slowly climb and then stab it in its head. Man, I love Shadow of the Colossus. That was a good game. Just make a second one of those. So speaking of the swimming, Aloy looks to be traveling towards the Pacific Ocean, as she ends up in the robot post-apocalyptic versions of California, with confirmed bits of Robot San Francisco and Robot Yosemite, which, contains a Robot Golden Gate Bridge and a Robot National Park and Robot Fine Arts Center. Does it make things more interesting when I add the word robot in front of things? My name is Robot Makai Vega, coming to you today with another episode of Robot Hype Train. But much like the rest of the world, much of it has been overtaken with greenery, with some parts of it being delved completely underwater. Doesn't really seem like a city that's worth the visit anymore, does it? But that isn't all. Game director Mathias De Jong, Mr. Jones. I can't read. Confirmed that the Forbidden West itself spreads from the notoriously fabulous lands of Utah all the way to the Pacific coast, making for an in-game map that's, quote unquote, a bit bigger than the ranges of Horizon Zero Dawn. That's about 600 miles from Utah to the Pacific Ocean. That's about 10 hours by car. And Aloy doesn't have a car. She got foots. Now, obviously, the game will do a somewhat abbreviated version of that long walk, hopefully, but that just speaks to the potential vastness of the game. But I hope the game doesn't fall into the pitfalls of having an extremely vast world and nothing to do in it. Which, open world games sometimes tend to fall into that category of complaints. Because they have this big, giant, vast world, but it's all just walking space, and there's nothing to really organically find between it. Like you did in a game like Breath of the Wild, just organically finding things such as the Master freaking Sword. But we'll see. And on that journey, we do have some of the names of some of the new robot creatures that you'll encounter on the way. Shell Snappers, robot turtles. Sunwings, robot pterodactyls. You know, the ones that you can't hear go to the bathroom because the P is silent. And Tremotusks, which are robot mammoths. No yet mentions of sharks or whales or robot dolphins or Spongetron. But you know, I just got a sneaky feeling underwater robot place. And if not, I'm throwing the game out the window. I want robot sharks just like how D&D wanted their zombie polar bear. Thumbs up to whoever gives those references. But with new robot species out there, that presents the opportunity for brand new combat mechanics and regular gameplay and also exploring mechanics, possibly involving flying on a robot pterodactyl, or in general better usage of the robot species in combat and exploration. With all that being said, the only thing officially released by Sony is the main theme of the game, which is also the reveal trailer thing. It's called Promise of the West. It's a relaxing listen, give it a try on Spotify if you ever got the time. If this song is any indication, the game studio will be hitting us with another amazing soundtrack for this game. It's one that's heavily rooted in, you know, bing bong culture. I did not mean that to sound that racist. When I say, I mean the little drums, little patty drums, I forget what those are called. I just call them bing bong. It was like, I don't know what. Now, it's theory time. Be cautious of a few small spoilers for the first game if you haven't played it yet. That's your only warning. Since the rumor mill seems to heavily hint at the idea that they're going for the underwater thing, and the trailer shows Aloy swimming underwater, I was just wondering, where's she swimming at? There are actually several big bodies of water between Utah and the Pacific coast. But coral life, like the one shown in the trailer, is only heavily influenced in the Pacific Ocean itself. So, that means Aloy is very deep underwater in the Pacific Ocean. The original extinction of the Earth, according to the game's lore, were the peacemakers designed to save Earth, but ended up destroying the Earth's atmosphere due to its need of biomass as fuel. Which is a really weird thing to fuel, because, you know, in real life, it's poop. That's fecal matter, that's butt juice. Imagine if your whole house was powered by butt juice. How would you feel then about paying your electricity bill? I mean, if you don't believe me, look it up. Biomass is literally poop. So the peacemakers destroyed the atmosphere. Great. What's that have to do with the Pacific? But if you remember how in the first game the AIs were in deep caverns and caves that you had to go deep underground to explore, a place where no one else had access to in some cases? Well, I think something's down there. Something not so friendly. Especially since the coast would be very susceptible to natural flood risings and water level increasing since the post-apocalypse. Or the regular apocalypse, since the apocalypse happened. So who knows what mysteries and treasures could be buried down there. And what about Silence? Anybody remember him? The guy that had the I'm about to hit you with this heel turn face the entire game? Remember that he now possesses the world-ending AI known as Hades. Think we got a main antagonist, guys? So imagine what kind of damage he could do if he learned how to manipulate and reprogram these AI. And somehow learning to process complicated coding in an indigenous world. I mean, he'll do it. They'll probably just have him look at it really hard and just be like, I now know everything. I can already imagine his story being something along the lines of corruption by an endless quest for knowledge. Whoops! Accidentally created the better AI that will destroy the world again. My bad! But regardless, something or someone happens that will put the world in mortal peril again, which will cause Aloy to basically drop everything and go save the world. Which, I don't know. I personally don't really like save the world stories. They're so impersonal, you know? It kind of felt that way in the first game as soon as Aloy left her home village. It went from Aloy trying to prove herself as the unjustly outcasted member of her tribe to running around basically as a saint, saving everyone from mortal peril just because she could. And I know she had the whole discovering herself and identity sort of thing going over there, but nothing really changed once she found out. As a critic, I challenge video game writers to work on that. Otherwise, you may risk losing Aloy in a sea of unrelatable heroes. That all along goes with the line of the thing that I hope they don't just rest on their laurels and assume we want the same game again. They're gonna have to introduce some major new gameplay mechanic or lore or just personal story for Aloy to keep the Horizon series fresh and people coming back for more. Too many pieces of media these days are falling into these pitfalls. Just because it says new, don't mean it is. But I never played the Killzone series before, so we'll see how Guerrilla Games does with sequels so far. Anywho, another game too soon for a hype score. I know, but ain't much coming out too soon, so you know we gotta do these games that are kind of far away. The game currently has no sort of release date anywhere in our near future, but they say 2021. Hey, that's this year. And it is yet another PlayStation exclusive, coming to both PS5 and PS4. So there's another rush to not get the PlayStation 5 if you don't already have one. Interesting strategy to sell the 5, but I won't complain. That'll do it for Horizon Forbidden West for now. Potentially look forward to another video as soon as they drop another info dump on us. Next time on the Hype Train.
It all means nothing until you step inside.
Halo Infinite. Switching consoles on you, huh? Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Hype Train. Do me a favor, do me a quick favor. Alright, just take a little salt, Put it in your fingers. And take a little pepper. What's that? Paprika? Oregano? Brown sugar. And add a little spice to that like button. Bring it up. Taste it. Too much pepper is nasty. Thank you for watching. Hype Train, baby. Whoop, whoop. Oh, I just ripped my pants. I just ripped my pants pretty hard trying to squat instead of just. All right, I'm just gonna. All right. Yeah,